Okay, so now we have our project set up in Final Cut Pro and we're ready to start doing some editing. But before we get started, let's take a look at a few of the tools available to us. One of the first things that we want to do is make sure that our window setup is working for us. This is a pretty good layout, but one of the first things you want to do when you start editing is to make sure that you're not working with somebody else's presets. So under Window, you can go to Arrange and go to the Standard Layout. And this will open all of the default tools and windows and make sure that you're seeing everything. So if you can do this anytime you get lost. If you say you accidentally close the viewer or your timeline and you don't know how to get them back, you can always go to Window, Arrange, Standard, and it will bring everything back to the normal configuration. Okay, so quickly, what these windows are. This is what's called the browser. I also call this sort of the project window as well, because you have tabs here where we only have one project open, and it's called Still Story Maxwell. And all of the things that are connected to this project, that this project knows about, are going to be right here. And right now this list is empty, but we're going to import some photos, which will serve as our video clips, and they will show up in this browser, in the project window or the browser window. This window is called the viewer. This is where you preview material, so you'll be able to look at photos and videos and preview sound files from your browser or from your project window here in the viewer. The things that you see in the viewer are not actually in your edit. To see what's in your edit, you look at what's called the canvas. The canvas and the timeline are directly tied to each other. So whatever you're seeing in the canvas is representative of what's in your timeline. And a timeline is the contents of a sequence. And we'll get into all of those differentiations, but just wanted to give the basic groundwork of what these windows are. You also have a tool palette over here in the bottom right, which defaults to your normal arrow selector. But there are some other tools in here that we'll use. Specifically, the razor blade is something we'll get to use pretty soon. But if you ever find that you're in a weird mode and you can't click on things the way you normally would want to, you can always go over to the tool palette and choose the regular arrow. Okay, so now we're ready to import the images into our project, and we do that by choosing File to Import Files. And this will bring up a file requester, and we're going to start in our drive. I'm going to go to the DFVP folder, the projects folder under that, because I collect all of my ancillary materials like still photos and images and sound files and audio and music and all that stuff together in the projects folder. And under projects, I'm going to choose my current project, which is Still Story. And then I made a folder called Photos underneath this folder, so that all of my pictures, all my still images, all my master photographs are going to be in this folder. And I've got 3 in here. They're all JPEG files. So I'm just going to drag to select all of them, or you can Shift select as well. And then I'm going to click Choose now that I've got all 3 of those selected. And you'll notice that they will show up right here in my browser window, my project window. And I can double click on any one of these and it will load it into the viewer. Like I told you, the viewer is designed to show you things that you're working on before they go into the timeline, and it also serves a separate function once they're in the timeline. But if you double click on anything, it will load it into the viewer. And because this is my class, you get to look at pictures of my kids. So that's my prerogative as a professor. Okay, so we've got them, and you notice that there is a little marker under here. This is a timeline that shows the duration of this clip. Now this is a little bit strange because these are still images. They're not actual videos. So you see as I move the playhead back and forth, or if I click play, the playhead will move, but of course it's a still image, so there's actually no motion to it. All this does is tell us this is an in and an out marker. It tells us how long is this clip going to be when we put it down into our timeline. So we can choose the default. If we don't change anything and I drag it down to the timeline onto this first track, we can see that it's 10 seconds long. How do I know that? I've got a time display right here in the corner, and it tells me what the current time display of the playhead is. So see, as I move it back and forth, it updates, and at the end of this clip, it's at 10 seconds. So if I play this clip, it's going to play the same still shot for 10 seconds. I'm going to delete that, and if I go up here and I can change the in and out markers, so I'm going to look here, I'm going to say this is set to 10 seconds long, it's at the 1 second mark. If I move forward, I want to make it 5 seconds long. There. Now it's at the 1 minute and 5 second mark. That's half, obviously, of the 10 seconds. Now I'm going to change the out point, this marker here. Oops. There. In order to do that, see there's a corresponding graphic. This is what the out marker looks like. This is the button that sets the out marker. So I simply click that, and it's moved the end of the clip to 5 seconds. So now it's half as long, the selection that we're using, and when I drag and drop it, it's half as long. So I have a 5-second clip instead of a 10-second clip. And I can do this on each one of my pictures to make them different lengths. So notice this one defaults to 10 seconds. I'm going to move it, and I'm going to try to just make this one really short. I'm going to make it 2 seconds long, if I can get that much precision. Going to set the out point using the out point button. And now if I look here, it's 2 seconds and 1 frame, which is close enough for me. I'm going to drag it down immediately after that clip. And then I'm going to choose the third one. And let's keep this one at 10 seconds. So we're going to use the default for this. We're going to drag it down onto, you notice if I try to drag it anywhere, there's only 2 places it can go. It won't go down here because this is where audio tracks go. It can go onto my existing track, or it can go onto a new track if I do it above. I'm going to choose the existing track so that it just depends on where your mouse is, and I'm going to jut it right up against the previous clip. And there it is. So I've got a 5-second, a 2-second, and a 10-second clip, and they're all stills. So you can see how that sort of plays out in the timeline. Now we're going to change the pacing of these. We're going to show you how you can change the length of these clips once you've already put them in your timeline. And again, notice when I'm scrubbing across the timeline or I'm playing it, it's showing up in the canvas. That's the purpose of the canvas, is to show you what the contents of your timeline are. So next video we'll go over how to actually change the duration of these clips, how to slice them up, how to move them around, how to trim them to set the timing the way that you want it to be. And we'll do that in the next video. Until then, have fun with this, putting clips into your timeline, and if you need any reminders, feel free to just back this video up and watch it over again. Okie doke, have fun.